Hello, White Sox fans, and welcome to another edition of White Sox Daily Live. My name is Ian Eskridge. Today I had the pleasure of talking with Curt Bloom, the play by play voice of the Birmingham Barons. As you may have been seeing, the season down in Birmingham has been kind of a roller coaster, and things seem to have taken a recent uptick. Curt took some time out of his day to tell me about all of the goings on in Birmingham and what we can expect coming in the future. All right. Well, welcome to White Sox Daily. My name is Ian Eskridge. I am lucky enough to be joined by the radio voice of the Birmingham Barons, Curt Bloom. Hey, Curt, how you doing? Good to see you.
Great, and it's good to see you too. Thank you, as always, for thinking of me as a guest. I'm humbled.
I always appreciate your insight on everything going on down there, and I watch a lot of every game, and you know this season it's like a tale of two different teams. um we caught up basically like about a week into the season, and we're a little over halfway now. um the first half was a little bit of a struggle. What did you see from the offense in the first half of the season?
Well, the first half was more than a little bit of a struggle. It was a lot of struggle in every aspect. And, in baseball, our grindy and we play every day. So it's kind of hard to put the brakes on once things start spiraling. Um, Undoubtedly, there are two names that we expected to be major contributors that didn't get an at bat, at least until the end of May. One was Brian Ramos, and the other one is Colson Montgomery, who still hasn't had a Birmingham at bat. So you plug those two guys in, I think offensively, we're not going to be the Southern League first half champs, but we're going to be better. And it's hard to replace not only two starters, but again, go to your pipeline. You're talking about 1 and 3 in pipeline. We didn't get one at bat out of any of them until Ramos joined us in late May. And I think that's excuse number one, but a pretty good one. And I know you're going to ask me, we're going to get into the baseballs later on, but I just talked to Nicky Delmonico yesterday, and the baseball's had a big difference, big effect. It really, I hope that the next time MLB decides to make an experiment that they use another league, but the Southern League, because it didn't work with us, that's for sure.
Yeah. And the thing is like I've been trying to, you know, put some sort of any kind of marker on an effect from the baseball. And I can't tell, the things that I thought were going to happen was that our offense would probably struggle because there was going to be more movement from the baseball. And I thought the pitching would be better. And the pitching started off fairly decent, but it seemed like it kind of tailed off. And I don't know whether, it's a dead arm period for some guys just because, they're getting more innings and whatever. Um, but it just seemed like both sides of the ball kind of struggled to find some sort of traction with that baseball.
Nicky Delmonico described it to me yesterday the best. There's a short conversation, and I said, the new ball, we're with it. Because, the Barons now have averaged 11 runs in the last 5 games, averaged. And he said, here's the bottom line. He goes, the pitchers now are able to command in a smaller zone. So you go to the negative is what you were talking about. Maybe they had more spin rate, but they have no idea of where the ball is going. They could not control it as much. So if you can't control it, then the batters are thinking, well, I better swing because it's not going to ever wind up in my hot zone. And now, at least for the last 5 games, we went back to the muddied up ball, the regular ball that we're used to on July 14th. There's instant results, and it's the same guys. We didn't add anybody. Colson Montgomery's not here. Ramos has already been here. Mieses has been here. Xavier Fernandez has gone crazy. So there's Ian. There's got to be a correlation. I can't tell you that it's 100%, but certainly it's in the conversation. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, it seemed to me that the batters had started to make an adjustment because the if you look at the numbers from April and May, it was basically all the hitters on the team basically struggled a little bit trying to put together decent streaks of games. You know, they would have performances here and there, but trying to maintain some consistency when you don't know what's coming
Right.
is probably pretty difficult, I would
It
imagine.
is. One thing I tried to talk to with some of our players about, and I think you obviously will be able to relate to, if tomorrow we changed your microphone or we changed your earpiece, you'd notice a difference and we'd ask you to adjust. And that was as close as a comparison that I can get. Is we asked pitchers and batters, all right, for 69, well, it's actually about 70 some odd games, we're going to change your tool, your number one tool, your baseball. So I tried not to think of it that an excuse, but it's hard not to. There's a correlation between the two. Now, at the end of the day, I think it needs to be said that offensively, the Barons were not rolling out Ramos and Montgomery, and a really slow start for Mieses. We've had zero input from another guy that they thought would be a table setter, and that's Duke Ellis. He has had two separate leg injuries, and I think he's had 10 at bats all year long. And so you're talking about a core part of the lineup that has been affected. Pitching wise, we didn't exactly run out. Cease and Kopech, most recently Davis Martin. What we've been running out is guys that are grinders, guys that do not throw hard. And the hope is to get 5 innings, 6 innings. When you had a guy like Cease, even earlier this year, we had Selesky, who's in AAA. And you just had that feeling, Ian, you're going to get 6, 7 innings and you're going to be competitive. And we went through the rotation many times, trying to find the grip. We did not have first and second round guys, but guys that, grinded their way through and worked and struggled and labored to get through one batter, 1 inning, 2 innings. And we were lucky if we got to 5.
Yeah, I mean, the with Christian Mena and Matthew Thompson, obviously with the baseball and the fact that they're throwing curveballs fairly often, the fact that the command with that particular pitch in general, and that both of them have moments where they struggle commanding their fastball. To me, it wasn't really a surprise that they were kind of having a little bit of a tough run with it. And, I would like to think that, in the second half with the new ball that with the regular mud ball, that everything should be fine. And, as we've seen, at least the offensive side of things has started to clear up a little bit. Luis Mieses is, his slug is down over the last I don't know, in July compared to June, because he went on a real heater. But it seems like most of the key cogs of the offense are starting to turn in some decent numbers. And with Xavier Fernandez hitting 526 in July, that certainly helps things as well.
Comfort zone, confidence. X is a wonderful character by himself, Xavier Fernandez. And here's a guy born in Puerto Rico, so basically English is his second language, but he's been in the States for a long time, so he speaks wonderful English. But he did the post-game show 2 days ago, and he said, I know that people talk about baseball being 85% mental. He goes, no, it's 95% mental. And so with a hitter, One bad at bat leads to the second bad at bat. One 0 for 4 leads to another 0 for 4. And you got to tell your mind, change your mindset, and go, hey, that was yesterday. And the guys that conquer it, there's enough guys in the league um, that are hitting 290, 300. Those are the ones that said, look, I had an 0 for 4 yesterday, but I'm coming back tomorrow and I'll get 3 knocks. Instead of, I had an 0 for 4, first pitch comes on the next night. It's just, you take a strike because you're guessing, and here we go again. And then the mind game takes place. Okay. So, so much of it is mental. And I've always believed that. And I thought that was a very interesting and intriguing and a wonderful answer from Xavier Fernandez.
Well, wherever his mind is at right now, he should keep it there because guy's going bonkers. 1,500 OPS in the last,
Yeah, I was
I think
about
it
to
was
say, look at the
11
OPS,
games.
which is this is beyond video games. I was mentioning last night. You look at elite OPS, and this is whatever level is above elite. Now, this is a small sample size. We're looking at 2 weeks, but I did this, and I'm extending the answer and wasting some time here. But I did a little research. Babe Ruth holds the all-time record for OPS in a career, which is about 1,100. And in this small sample size, 2 weeks worth, X is at 15, 1.5. So it just gives you this astronomical, everything he's been doing in 2 weeks has just been a home run, a home run, a home run, 3 more hits, an RBI base hit, a double, draws a walk, and it's all mental. He said it again. It's mental. He hasn't done anything physically, nothing different at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, to quote James Fegan, who was the writer for the Athletic, he said in spring training, said there's nobody that hits the ball harder than Xavier Fernandez. He said every time he would hear that sound coming from a bat, he'd look over and it would be Fernandez hitting the ball. And that's one thing that the guy has always done is hit the ball really hard. So it's nice to see him have like some really, really nice success, and interested to see what happens with that.
Yeah, we all are. We all are wondering if he's maybe swung his last few bats in Birmingham. Charlotte's got they got a catcher they love up there, and Evan Scoug, and they have Carlos Perez, who's absolutely a big leaguer in all of our minds too. So there might not be that space unless he plays a little bit more first base. You got a DH in there, but it's a pleasant thing to have, and perhaps in 2 weeks, as I look at my watch, 9 days, some of this will start to materialize, and we'll have a better idea who's going to actually wind up where.
Yeah, I kind of think. I mean, if you have, I'm sure you've been paying at least a little bit of attention. Colson Montgomery's been crushing it in Winston Salem, and I don't think he's long for that place as well. I'm actually surprised he's still there. So I would imagine you'll probably get him shortly. And you guys have also gotten a little infusion of talent from Winston-Salem in the form of Terrell Tatum, the little OBP machine. And he keeps on doing exactly what he was doing in Winston-Salem. He's got almost as many hits or almost as many walks as he's got hits. And, he is an annoyance on the base paths, and he's been putting some good wood on the ball, and last night he had that RBI triple, and he's got some pop in that bat. What have you seen from him up there?
See an athletic guy. I see a guy who loves to play the game. There is no doubt about it. He is one of those guys that just enjoys coming out to the ballpark, talking the game. He's on the quiet side, which don't take that the wrong way, but inside the clubhouse and inside his teammates, Terrell is very, very popular. But I think what I see is a guy who's very focused as well. I take that the fact that he is not the life of the party, but he's focused on trying to get to the big leagues. and I have no problem with that at all. I mean, he came from a really, really good NC State club, the one that went to the World Series. You like to get winners, you like to get guys who are part of that program, and he was. And it's interesting because all that he's doing right now is what Duke Ellis was supposed to do April, May, and June. And so, you know, Terrell didn't get promoted until late June because they were hoping that Duke would be in there. So again, that's part of the issue of why the Barons aren't numerically and standings wise as successful. So what I'm saying is, Ian, if Terrell had been here day one, game one, by now he'd also have 3 months of Double A under his under his belt.
Yeah.
So one man's injury is another man's opportunity. That's a good one way to look at it.
Yeah, I think if my timeline's correct, I think Duke Ellis came back and he pinch ran once and maybe made one start, and then he kind of dropped off the radar again. Then Terrell showed up. So yeah, that corresponds.
But that spot was held for Duke for a while, including the leadoff spot, because really don't have one. But that was his. Even if he didn't bat 300, his defense and his speed and his ability to change the game, that it was kind of like the White Sox and the Barons were like, all right, that's Duke's. And then by late June, there was no Duke Ellis. And I believe he's out. He's in Arizona right now trying to rehab. And what is going to be a lost year, obviously. It's late right now. But that said, Terrell stepped in when he got promoted. And again, I think you put it the best, that he is an on-base machine. A good game for him is a walk and a hit and 3 walks and a couple stolen bases. It's great. It's fine, especially at the top of the line.
Yeah, you'll take that. So also making their way up from Winston-Salem, you have a trio of pitchers. You have Tristan Stivers, Addison Coffey, and Jared Kelly. So you've only seen minimum amount of Jared Kelly because he was in and out fairly quickly, hit 30 pitches the other night. I would like to think with the performances that he's had recently in Winston-Salem, that's like kind of an outlier as far as the ball to strike ratio. But what have you heard about those guys from staff down there?
Well, the first 2 guys you mentioned, Stivers and Coffey, I mean, if you had a radar the size of the state of Illinois, you wouldn't have found them. I mean, they have come absolutely out of nowhere in my book. And there's I hate to use that word adjustment, but that they're going to have to adjust. Stivers pitched well last night. But you got to understand, Ian, I've been in this league for a long time, and the first time around for these guys that come up, they're nervous, and they're nervous because they realize they've made it to a level where one phone call later they could be in the big leagues. With Jared Kelly, I think we're watching the transition from starter to relief pitcher, and that's going to be tough for him too. I think he's been a starter all his life. We have to remember he was a high draft pick who signed for a lot of money, a lot of expectations, and just has not put it together yet. Maybe the bullpen eventually will be his role, and right now he's. The expectations is he's going to piggyback left-hander Tommy Summer. So whenever Summer pitches, Kelly will come in after him, and that's what happened 2 nights ago.
Gotcha. That Tristan Stivers curveball, it blows me away every time I see him. So I'm really interested to see how both those guys fare, and the fact that I would have liked to have seen his curveball with that with super tack ball. Yeah. Just to see how ridiculous it could get, because that thing just drops off the table, and it's a sight to behold. So that's about what I'll let you go. I appreciate your time. It's great conversation as always, and I guess we'll catch up at the end of the season if that's good with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say this because I mean it. The information that is supplied by you and your webcast and your podcast is just absolute gold. It's a big help in my broadcast in terms of getting a little bit more information.
Hmm.
I think it's a wonderful information highway that we have. And from my end of it, we're always open 24/7.
Well, I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the kind words, and I'm hoping to catch up after the season. Have a
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, hope things are on the up and up in Birmingham, and that we could see some winning baseball here in the second half.
5 game winning streak. You're as good as your last stretch, and you're good as your last game. Hey, I'm the happiest man in the city of Birmingham right now.
All right. Well, thanks, Curt. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, take care. Great stuff from Curt, and we always appreciate when he comes on. It's always nice to hear the insight that he has, and you can find him at Curt Bloom 4 on Twitter and at his website, curtbloom.com. Thank you so much and enjoy your day. Thanks.